Yo, what up, YouTube? It's my fourth video I'm doing, but I'm about to switch it all together up. I'm not gonna say I'm never gonna do any more, but I'm gonna try to just stay away from the hip hop drama, messy stuff, because I'm really not even into that. I was just trying to get in the lane to get my page going, but I'm gonna focus more on educational stuff, just any type of stuff. When certain stuff happen, I'll still speak on it, but I want to speak more on like pharmaceuticals and the war and history and just things of that nature instead of just talking about Charleston White and no jumper and stuff. 'Cause that's really not even what I'm into. So this video that I'm gonna make today is about Ozempic and how it does a lot of different things to your body other than just making you lose weight. I ran across a post on Instagram that was very, very informative, and that was saying how Ozempic is leading to extreme depression in people, and how Ozempic is also leading to divorces and is blocking a receptor in your brain that allows you to love. So a lot of people get on Ozempic shortly after they end up breaking up with their relationships. So I'm not gonna talk too much. I'm just gonna get into the video, but this is the first post that got me to researching it on Instagram.
We initially thought GLP-1s like Ozempic, tirzepatide, and retatrutide just reduced food cravings. Now we know they work for alcohol, cocaine, gambling, and other addictions too. But do you know what runs on exactly the same circuit? Falling in love. GLP-1 receptors sit in the exact same brain regions that light up when you're in love. The insane thing about them is that they don't just suppress appetite, they suppress wanting in general, including romantic craving another person. Something like 60 million people are now on anti-desire drugs, and it happened in the blink of an eye. I predict in the coming years, we will see people on these drugs be less able to fall in love. We will also see them fall out of love or be unable to feel it in relationships that were previously great. If your girlfriend or boyfriend started taking GLPs and your relationship started failing, there's a good chance that's why.
So they're saying this is a study, this is a scientific study that they ran that's showing that people are falling out of love. And if you're not in love, it makes it almost impossible for you to fall in love. It seems like an extremely big conspiracy with all of the Bill Gates population reduction and trying to reduce the population on the planet. And now you're coming out with a drug to help a country whose majority obese. Okay, we give you a drug that you could eat whatever you want. You could eat pizza all day. You don't have to work out. You could be lazy and you're going to just lose all of this weight. Of course, a lot of people are going to take this, but they're not telling you that this drug is leading to extreme depression and leading to you not wanting to be in love, which is to usually the way that people reproduce. Even just wanting anything, the need to want. That's why I see a lot of these celebrities who start Ozempic, they kind of stop making music. Look at Lizzo, she stopped making music. She doesn't have the need to want. The same thing with Ice Spice. So it was just very intriguing, but I'm gonna look up the definition for y'all of GLP-1 blockers. So it say, what is a GL1 blocker? Blocking glucose secretions. Glucagon is a hormone your body uses to raise your blood sugar levels when necessary. So GLP-1 prevents more glucose from going into your bloodstream, slowing stomach emptying. Slowing digestion means that your body releases less glucose, sugar, from the food you eat into your bloodstream. So that's the definition of a GL1 blocker. But they're not going to put on here because there's so many people lobbying these pharmaceutical people. Then I read that this is a drug made in Europe and Europe banned it. You can't even sell this drug in the EU. So it just seemed like a big setup. And this runs on the same brain receptor that's responsible for your love. So love, depression, your need to want to eat, all is like the same brain receptor. So this is the brain receptor for love. It says maternal love activates specific different areas, including the lateral orbit, frontal cortex, but also some same areas as romantic love, including medial and sula, the anterior cingulate gyrus. I don't know none of these words. I'm just learning this with y'all. And coordinate nucleus. Both appear to share areas rich in OT and ABP receptors. So this drug is blocking the same receptors that's responsible for you falling in love. And I think that this is the whole reason that they put that out there. But this is the next video that I watched. This is Tucker Carlson, and he's speaking on it with the medical professional.
Today in studio. Kelly, thanks so much for coming on.
Pumped to be here, Tucker.
So you want to lose 20, and I'm speaking from experience, you want to lose 20 pounds, you don't really want to stop eating pizza. This seems like a super quick way to get healthier. Why wouldn't you take Ozempic? Why shouldn't I take Ozempic?
There's three big reasons Ozempic is very problematic, and I think really the Rosetta Stone to understanding what's gone wrong in healthcare and frankly pharma industry corruption. The first point I want to make is that if a fish tank is dirty, you clean the tank. You don't drug the fish. And in America right now,
So they won't notice.
In America right now, we've got a very dirty tank. 50% of teens and 80% of adults are overweight. And this has happened in just a generation. We didn't become systematically lazier in the past generation as Americans and frankly suicidal. Something has happened. And the core mistake of Ozempic is that obesity is not an Ozempic deficiency. Obesity is not the root cause of the problem. Obesity is one branch of the tree of underlying metabolic dysfunction that's ravaging our country. As we talked about, with over 50% of Americans having prediabetes now, 33% of young adults.
Wait, most Americans have prediabetes?
Oh, it's by some measures is up to 60%
Of the whole country?
Of adults and 33% of young adults and teens. And you have a diabetes doctor, just a generation ago wouldn't see one child in their entire careers with diabetes. Now, diabetes, which again is cellular dysfunction, is cellular disruption, totally caused by environmental factors and what we're eating. That's close to becoming upwards of 50% of kids. It's 33% and growing radically. Teens, 25% have fatty liver disease, which is something you only used to see in elderly alcoholics. So there's a metabolic health crisis that's caused by decisions, right? The USDA, which is completely corrupt, the guidelines that set nutrition standards, 95% of the guideline committees paid for by food companies, they say that a 2-year-old, that 10% of their diet can be added sugar. We have more money from agriculture subsidies in America today go to cigarettes, go to tobacco than vegetables. 90% of subsidies go to highly processed food. We've propped this industry up. Food stamps, right, which 15% of Americans depend on for nutrition, 10% of all food stamps funding goes to soda. We're the only country in the world that allows that. So we have
Goes to soda?
goes to soda. So
So the U.S. government pays people to drink soda?
the U.S. government, direct from the federal treasury, more than $10 billion per year go from the federal treasury to soda companies through the food stamp program. The number one item purchased with food stamps in America is addictive diabetes water. We prop that up with food stamps. As we talked about last time, I actually used to work and consult with Coke, and we paid the NAACP and other groups to say it was racist to take that away. We totally rigged the debate. So through a corrupt system, we actually subsidize.
So the FDA and Big Pharma lobbied the NAACP, which is the National Association for Colored People, or some, I forgot the acronym for it, but it's a black organization for black people. They tried to stop people from buying so much pops because this is causing large levels of diabetes, majority in the black community, because majority of people who are food stamp recipients, not majority, there are more white people, but percentage wise, a large percent, a higher percent of us food stamps than any other group. So 10% of food stamps in our community is spent on, like he said, diabetes water, which is soda with extreme amounts of sugar in it. And that's what I said in the beginning. Or similar to what he said, you have to clean the outside of your glass before you clean the inside of the fish bowl. I'm sorry, you have to clean the inside before you clean the outside. You can't give a fish in a dirty pond drugs without cleaning the water or cleaning the tank. So you're giving people foods to make them diabetic. Then you're offering them what make them diabetic and overweight. Then you're offering them a drug to help, which, like he said, 80%, 60 to 80% of adults in America, 60% are diabetic. So a lot of people are going to take this drug thinking it's going to help them. It's going to get them together. It's going to get them more confidence. It's giving you false levels of confidence because now you're dropping weight, but you're depressed. So you're thinking that you're happy, but you're depressed the whole time. And it's making you fall out of love with people. So it all just seems like an extremely big setup. An extremely big setup. But I'm just going to show one more video. This is for a doctor who was once on the FDA, and he's not on the FDA anymore, so he's kind of exposing things about Ozempic as well.
I'm Dr. Joseph Witt-Doering. I'm a board-certified psychiatrist and expert in psychiatric drug side effects. So over the last couple of years in my practice, I've noticed many individuals describing severe mood changes after starting these medications. And I'm talking about worsening anxiety and depression, usually appearing within a couple of weeks of starting these drugs. And it's not just me noticing this. For instance, check out this report of celebrity Anna Sorokin, who was the German con artist who was featured in the Netflix show Inventing Anna. She talks openly about how she stopped taking Ozempic because it made her depressed. But it's not just her. Patients all over the country are reporting similar effects, so much so that it's developed a cute name, Ozempic personality. Let's check out a clip from the news discussing this.
My anxiety is through the freaking roof.
It's the latest side effect that's giving some patients pause.
I absolutely, for months now, have been feeling depressed.
They say popular diabetes drugs, which are also used for weight loss, such as Ozempic and Mounjaro, are leading to mood changes and depression in what's been dubbed Ozempic personality.
You know, first we had the Ozempic face, which was like the hollowed out face, then the Ozempic butt, which was like the saggy butt after you lost the weight, and now the Ozempic personality.
Some users complain they don't feel like themselves, their joy dulled.
I used to be a really positive, bubbly, like sunshine person, and over the last year and a half, I've kind of lost that.
Since being prescribed Ozempic, Sydney Foster has lost 90 pounds. She says it's her mental health that's now weighing her down.
Now, this may not sound like much of a big deal, you know, if it's given a cute name like Ozempic personality, but it is because there are now multiple case reports online of people becoming unexpectedly suicidal and depressed after starting these medications. Now, when you read these case reports, these were individuals who had no prior psychiatric history, no other alternative explanations for becoming suicidal or depressed in their life, and they became like this shortly after starting the drug, and they recovered shortly after discontinuing the drug. Now, reports like this are very compelling, and it suggests that this is a serious side effect we should be paying attention to. However, despite these frightening reports, there is something really strange going on, because drug regulators do not actually believe this is a risk. For instance, check out this clip from 3 weeks ago.
The FDA wants suicide warnings to be taken off of some popular weight loss medications. The affected products include Eli Lilly's Zepbound and Novo Nordisk's Wegovy and Saxenda. The requests follow an FDA review that found no increased risk of suicidal thoughts or behavior with the use of GLP-1 medications. GLP-1 drugs were first approved to treat type 2 diabetes, but they have gained in popularity since being approved for obesity in recent years.
Now, this is kind of confusing. Why would there be this disconnect where we have all these individual reports of people getting worse from these drugs, but the FDA is not saying it's related? Well, the reason we have this discrepancy is because the FDA is wrong. The FDA has completely flopped on this, and they've made a big mistake in dismissing this risk. And why do I know this? And why should you trust, a YouTube doctor in a white coat to say this? Well, it's because I used to work at the FDA. And I have to tell you this, and I don't like saying this, but they do a terrible job at drug safety when it comes to psychiatric side effects. And I want to quickly unpack.
They do a terrible job at drug safety when it comes to psychiatric side effects because they're being lobbied to make the decision that they make. People with hundreds of billions of dollars were making hundreds of billions of dollars off these drugs are just going to pay somebody to say what they want to say. Say that this doesn't give you suicide. Say that this is a healthy drug. It's just ridiculous that stuff that our country allows, the other countries don't allow. And you see everybody depressed. You see the suicide rates through the roof. You see everybody with diabetes. You see everybody overweight. It's because our Food and Drug Administration allows all of these things to be in our food. But I do these type of videos of other people's stuff because I know the people who usually watch my channel, they're really not gonna be focused on this type of stuff. So I just try to bring it to y'all. So just to educate people on different things. We see all of the BS all day, every day. That's what I made my first 3 videos about. But I'm just gonna try to focus more on educational stuff, stuff that's really important in our country and with our society for all races. But this is my first video that I made on these type of topics. I'm gonna try to do at least 3 to 4 a week. And I'm still gonna get my background. I got the fake pictures up there, but I gotta just get the pictures because the pictures that I got didn't fit. So don't pay attention to that. But YouTube, I'm gonna try to be more educational with my videos, and I got some good ones coming up. So y'all just stay tuned and support the channel. All right, YouTube, have a good one.